Hi there. Um, I have a post that's scheduled to go up on Tumblr on my blog, which I have no problem linking to for when it goes up, but it's scheduled now for Friday at or not Friday, but Saturday. It's at about 5 p.m. and that's Pacific Standard Time. And what's going up there is kind of like a is basically a tech tips for women sort of post that's talking a lot like there's a lot of videos in it from YouTube and various content creators that talk about how to do all the things that I'm talking about. But this in coordination also Facebook as well, and it talks about a few different things, but the gist of it is that Facebook Messenger, unless you're using Facebook's secret messages, they're not encrypted in any meaningful way, and that's turned into a bit of a problem because of the fact that there are people that are using Facebook Messenger to do things like coordinate having an abortion in states where it's been banned and talked about burning the evidence of everything right over Facebook Messenger. And Facebook was more than happy to handle that data right over to the investigators in that situation. And I disagree with the people saying that you should cancel your period tracking apps. I recommend Clue because it's based out of Berlin, and in the event of a subpoena, Berlin does not have to respond to a subpoena from the U.S., so they don't have to comply with it because they're out of jurisdiction and it doesn't have the force of law. So they can just laugh in their faces, much like the Pirate Bay, pointed out when they got their DCMA takedown mails. They were like, "Well, we're not the USA, so we don't have to comply with this, particular publication." But yeah. So the other thing is just these devices. Now there are other channels on YouTube that disagree with me. That I'm not a big fan of Apple, by the way. Like, don't take me like this was an inheritance for me. It wasn't a selection that I picked myself. So I want to put that out there. So yes, I mean I do run Apple. I work with their technology, but I really don't like them as a company. In particular, I don't like the way that they don't play nice with others. The technology is designed to be used with other Apple devices and not with, Microsoft. And yeah, fuck all that. But as far as this is concerned, there are other channels here that disagree with me from the data retention standpoint. See, the thing is, if you do things my way, you're likely to forget your key, and forget your passwords. And then when you forget them, you're going to end up not having a way to regain your access to something. So I really would strongly recommend like writing the damn thing down and storing it somewhere like really, really ultra secure if you do things the way that I would recommend. But I don't recommend iCloud. In fact, I heavily discourage people from using it, and I've gone into my phone and hardened it, in order to disable iCloud backups, because if this phone gets backed up, I'm going to back it up, the old fashioned way and have it backed up to my computer, and then I'm going to encrypt it. And now there are people that say don't encrypt your backups on here. I disagree with those people. Okay. I think you should encrypt your backups, and I think you should encrypt them because, like I said, if in your backups you're discussing something like how to coordinate an illegal abortion, as a woman, you're gonna run into trouble when the FBI goes and asks Apple for the keys to get into your iCloud. You don't want that. So as far as storage providers and iCloud storage providers, I recommend some of the paid for ones. That I recommend spideroak, and I don't know what they're charging right now off the top of my head, so I'm gonna go look. And what you're watching is me pull it up on the fly, to see what they're actually charging. They do offer some storage for free, but I want to know like what the actual like the upgrades actually are. So one backup, and I'm trying to figure it out. See, I get 5 terabytes from them, and that's 29 month to month or 390 annually. I need to sign back up for that because I've got billing issues with them. But yeah, I recommend, you go with these guys, but of course you can get 150 gigabytes for just 6 per month. And the reason why I prefer this iCloud storage provider over everybody else with spideroak is because it is end-to-end encrypted and it's also zero knowledge. So spideroak doesn't have a copy of your key. Now, that puts you in a precarious situation. If you forget your key, you won't be able to access it anymore as a result, of all of it. So make sure that it's something that you either remember very well but is not easily guessed, or that you make a really good one and you write it down somewhere, and maybe print it off and then store that printed piece of data somewhere really, really secure. Or maybe you put it in, like a LastPass password manager and, you encrypt that pretty well with like, you back up your iCloud manager, you back up your two-factor like LastPass with something like a YubiKey or two-factor authentication, via an app on this phone, and you go with some app like Authy in particular. I really like them because they can be backed up pretty easily. Yeah, so Authy is what you would use for that, and I just, so that when a hacker breaks the LastPass key, they don't break the two-factor authentication behind that secures the LastPass on top of everything else, and that's what I would rec. You know, uh, um, I like that. I like the hardware wallet approach too, the hardware key as well. So the UB keys are really great. Those will cost you a little bit of money, but that it's peace of mind in a way that you don't have with other things. So my rec is go with Spider Oak though. You know, who I've got no problem linking in the underbar, but what you do is you back your phone, you know, up, and you back it up and you back it up to your own computer, and then you upload that stuff to Spider Oak. you know, that way everything is secured in the kind of way that makes it pretty much impossible for any snooping eyes. See, the problem is that you can't make it easy and also you can't make it easier for the FBI to get into that stuff without making it easy for anybody to get into it. Anybody with the right set of tools and knowledge and know-how, and you know what? You know who does have the know-how? I mean, I use Hashcat. I've got the know-how. You know, if I've got the know-how, anybody can. So, the thing is that I would heavily discourage the use of iCloud backups, and I would recommend that you go over to spideroak. And that's just my take on everything. And I'm not officially trained in encryption or anything, but I mean, we live in the 21st century where we all have access to the information superhighway, and everybody's able to get and skill up and gain knowledge at their own disposal for pretty much free. I mean, I don't need to have a degree in any of the applicable fields to know enough about that kind of technology, and to know something about how to do this. But yeah, um iCloud data may be end-to-end encrypted, but Apple has the key. It's not zero knowledge, and if the FBI comes knocking, they'll have access to it whenever they want. And so, as a woman-friendly writer and as a an author that hails from the feminist uh, lens, I would definitely recommend that you do all this and you make life a living hell for the FBI. So if you're going to back up your phone, back it up locally yourself to your own computer, and then upload that to Spider Oak. As far as all that's concerned, go in, disable all of that iCloud backup stuff, make it so that they have to break the key the same way that I would. And it'll slow them down tremendously, and likely they will leave you alone because of the fact that requires that much effort to prosecute you, and when you make it hard for them, all but the most determined actors gives up, and that's the point. You now have to throw computer resources after that. There's a budget that has to be involved in, holding you accountable. It really it really changes the nature of the game, and so I would recommend that you go that far. I have a post on my blog. It's scheduled to go up at literally 5 p.m. on Saturday, and there's a reason for that. I wanted the audience to be on Tumblr to be as widespread as possible. So it's gonna be jack full of videos about how to do all of this.